The Shining, the perfect film to watch in a snowstorm, and one of the most iconic horror films to date. And currently I am trapped in a snowstorm, so no better time to review The Shining on VHS. So let's get into this thing. Welcome back to the Ectoviolence channel. My name is Alec. With me as always is Darwin and Yoshi. And today we're talking about The Shining on VHS. Now this is the copy I have. It is a Warner Brothers copy. If we want to take a look at the tape here itself, it's one of those pretty basic Warner Home Video logos. And on the spine there isn't even anything but just the simple basic printing. So let's go ahead and throw this tape in. And the first thing we're going to see is an FBI warning. Skip this. Followed by a Warner Home Video logo. And here's the thing about this. This reminds me of growing up watching Ace Ventura on VHS. That was the one VHS that had this very specific logo from this time that I watched religiously. And this tape has no trailers. It gets right into the movie. Right into that Shining theme music. And these sweeping shots through the mountains. My God, this movie opens up and it is beautiful. I mean, this might be a perfect movie, you know? I struggle to think of movies that are more perfect, but aside from the source material and Stephen King's initial opinion. The interview scene's always fun. The backstory to this stuff is stuff that you may have thought was boring when you were a kid, you know, if you're not paying attention to the dialogue. If you grew up in a household that was deranged enough to let you watch this stuff as a kid like I was. You have Wendy and Danny introduced. This are going to be your central characters throughout the movie, obviously. You know, he's listening to him explain how this job works. I'm thinking, how much does this pay? I could do this, you know? Give me some internet, some snacks, a bunch of weed, and of course my physical media collection, and I think I could do that. It doesn't sound too bad. And then he explains the tragedy that happened in the winter of 1970. Charles Grady, who's the obviously father of the twins, the Grady twins. And that's something you don't pick up on as a kid either. But it definitely pays off later in the movie. So we're introduced to the concept of Tony and how Tony can kind of tell him things and show him things. Shows him the bloody elevator, for example. And in this scene, it's like Wendy's just lying to this woman. Her cigarette ash is like Pinocchio's nose in this. And this movie's full of moments like that are worth talking about, like how they're talking about the Donner Party in the car ride up there. And Jack Nicholson's expressions when he's like, they had to eat each other to survive. See that? He saw it on TV. It's okay. You know, from the moment Jack Nicholson is in this movie, he is unhinged and deranged already. We're introduced to Mr. Halloran, and he has this whole discussion with Danny after he's given him some ice cream, and hey, I want some ice cream. Luckily, I have some in the fridge. Strike that, reverse it, I have it in the freezer. And as it goes on, it just becomes clear that even besides becoming mad and trying to murder his family, he's just a dick to his wife, obviously. And even aside from the alcoholism.
Well, I suppose I ought to try to do some writing first. Why don't you start right now and get the fuck out of here?
So she's contacting police because she's kind of like, taking all responsibility while he just delves into madness in this hall. And we have Danny riding around these halls on his tricycle throughout this movie up until this point, and this is the point where, you know, everybody talks about this scene. He turns the corner and we have the Grady twins. And this is one of the most iconic scenes that's talked about in everything with countless parodies and references. I can think of a few, Family Guy, The Simpsons, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Twister has this whole scene that takes place at a drive-in and The Shining is playing on the screen as the tornado tears through it. And that's awesome too. Now the stuff with Room 237 after Danny comes out there, you know, and she's accusing Jack of hurting him because he has done so in the past. And who the hell else would have done it, right? And he just accepts his fate at this point. He's like, yeah, screw it. I am going crazy and I'm going to go down. And I gotta say, these performances just hold up so well when you watch this movie. I get sucked into it, absorbed. One of the funniest things to me is his enraged walk to the bar, where he's just like swinging his arms around in different places and stuff. Like, you ever been that pissed? I've only been that pissed a couple times in my life, like ever. And it's when you're just dealing with some fucked up shit, like your car's stranded and you're walking miles. Like, that's that kind of pissed. And as he is completely enveloped into the insanity, he goes to the bar and has this whole conversation with Lloyd, and he starts drinking. Or at least he thinks he's drinking. Halloran is like, I can sense something is up. There's been a great disturbance in the force. And we get the wonderful and iconic and slow building and just upsetting to watch 237 bathroom scene. And no horror fan watches this and thinks, I do not want to go to that bathroom. We all see this and think, I want this bathroom. I want this bathroom. I want to be this ghost. I'm not scared of the ghost. I am the ghost. So Halloran is trekking his ass all the way up to the Overlook to see what's up. Wendy realizes Jack is just fully gone mad and is likely to kill them. And we get the wonderful baseball bat on the stairs scene.
Wendy, stay away! Darling, light of my life. I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
She knocks him out with a baseball bat and drags him into the pantry. We have all that wonderful stuff when he's locked in the pantry and he's trying to manipulate her into letting him out of there. And finally, the climax with the red rum and Jack showing up with the axe. She helps him out the window. You get the, here's Johnny. Shelley Duvall is just acting up a storm in this scene and in this movie in general. And we all know how Kubrick mistreated her on this set, but I dare say she's the best part of the movie. Okay, after Halloran is killed with the axe, maybe that is the best scene with the movie, because after that, Wendy sees the man in the dog suit filleting the other dude in the hotel room. If the love ain't like that, I don't want it. And the iconic maze scene, right? This thing has also been referenced. What comes to mind mostly is that South Park episode where Stan's dad buys a Blockbuster, is it, right? That's going out of business and, like, ends up going totally insane. And along with his frozen corpse, this July 4th ball has always been very interesting. At this point, it's shared around on social media every 4th of July. So let's break it down and talk about the positives for The Shining. Obviously, the cast and characters. Jack Nicholson, phenomenal, iconic performance. What can I say that hasn't already been said about this performance? I appreciate it and I love it. Shelley Duvall, again, maybe the best part of the movie. She absolutely kills this movie. Danny Lloyd and Scatman Carruthers being the other cast rounding out, I would say, the bulk of the movie, also do a fantastic job. The imagery, and by that, I want to tie that in with cinematography, because some of it is just so good. You know, and you watch this, and it's clear that Kubrick has just influenced so many fucking people. It's insane. Even just this year, The Substance that came out. I'm sure you could name several other movies that came out this year that also were influenced by Kubrick movies. The music, no notes, perfect. I'm a synth nerd anyway, so any movie, especially 70s and 60s, like going all the way back to A Clockwork Orange, like the score for that, you know. Kubrick knew what he was doing with his people. And aside from those positives, you know, the cultural impact of this movie and just how we as horror fans still see this movie as like one of the best, one of the most iconic, one of the strongest horror films out there. It's still 100% holds up. So before I rate this, tell me below in the comments what you love about The Shining. And if you didn't know, you can join this channel now as a member or on Patreon. You get access to early videos, exclusive videos, stuff like that. So take a look. I'm going to rate this movie a 5 out of 5 hearts. Like, no notes. Nothing I can say to change this movie. I wouldn't. It's beautiful, and next time it snows around you, watch it. And if you like this video, be sure to check out this one and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.